Hey, it's Dr. Melissa. This week we are talking about gaslighting. Gaslighting is one of those super subtle, often almost hidden ways that other people, typically those with narcissistic traits, will control or manipulate you. So it's really important to be aware of what it is. When it happens, you can recognize it and make changes. After all, we are up to really big things, right? And protecting our energy and having healthy relationships is absolutely essential in doing the things that we want to do. So I want to unpack this for a minute and talk about what gaslighting actually is. The term itself came from a movie where a man, would turn down the gas lights. His wife would notice that they were turned down, ask about it, and he would be like, "What? I don't know what you're talking about. No, they're the same as they were before." And then she started to get confused and started to question her reality. I haven't actually seen the movie. That's what I understand. But I have experienced gaslighting to a large degree in my own life. And it's one of those things that's so subtle. It could be an experience where you have a conversation with someone, say yesterday, and you mention something about that conversation to them today, and they're like, "We never had that conversation." And you're like, "Yeah, we did. We talked about it yesterday." And they're like, "Yeah, it never happened." And you're like, "Wait a minute. I was sitting here. I said this. You were standing there. You said that. Then I said this. Then you said that." And they're like, "Yeah, no, that never happened." And you're like, "What? Did I dream this conversation? Is this even possible?" And when that starts to happen often enough, you start to get really confused. You may have seen it where you see someone do something that maybe is not necessarily out of character, but in a behavior that the other person wouldn't want you to have seen. Say you saw someone be really verbally abusive to wait staff, say, or be physically intimidating to someone, and you call them out on it, and they're like, "Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. That never happened." And you're like, "I just saw you. Like, it just happened. I just watched you do this." And they're like, "Yeah, that never happened." And you're like, "What in the world is going on?" When this happens often enough, you start to become confused. It sounds crazy, right? Because if you haven't experienced gaslighting, you're like, "How could someone actually get confused about that? That sounds crazy." But picture that it is a loved one that's doing this to you. Imagine that it is your parent or grandparent or your significant other, or a parent or grandparent of your significant other, or a boss or a coworker or a best friend. You start to get confused. Like, I know this person, I trust this person, and what they're saying doesn't match my version of reality. Am I going crazy? Is the underlying feeling that comes up in all of that. And when you tell other people what's happened, you tell people your experience, you often find that that person has turned all these people against you. And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, Melissa's a little crazy." Or, "Oh yeah, you're a little bit off." Well, just smile and nod. And so it's confusing, and it is crazy making, and it is something that I really want you to be aware of, because you are a magnet for people to gaslight you. You are a magnet for people to try to manipulate and control you, to make themselves look better, to elevate them in this world, because you're so stinking amazing already. And being involved in this kind of relationship will completely hold you back. Breaking free of it so that you can align with clarity, to be completely clear about who you are, what you're here to do, who you're here to be, and then move forward and creating impact in the world is exactly what we need right now. If this is something that you would like to work towards, and if this is something that you want in your life, I really encourage you to reach out because this is my favorite way to help people to break free of those things that are holding them back and fully step into the awesomeness of who they're created to be, even though you're already awesome. I would love to connect.